call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Kevin Holland takes on Vicente Luque this Saturday on the main card of UFC 316. And I think this very well could be the fight of the night. I think this one's going to be an absolute banger between these guys who have tons of very high-level experience, go out there to finish guys, put on shows, don't look to really point, strike, and win decisions. These guys are looking to put on for the fans and get finishes, whether it's on the ground as very highly touted jiu-jitsu black belts or on the feet, where these guys are super dangerous as well. So I'm looking forward to this one. Both of these guys, they're some of my favorite fighters to watch, just because they're good everywhere and they always put on really fun fights. But as of late, I was very not convinced by kind of where their careers were going and what their future performances would hold. So before Kevin Holland's last fight that he had against Gunnar Nelson, I was just not very impressed with him. I just didn't think he was taking his career seriously, bouncing between 185 and 170. I felt like he needed to, take his nutrition and his career seriously and fight at 170, where I think he could have a lot of success, but he just wasn't doing that. So I was not able to pick the guy until I really saw, a good performance from him, like he's back in, fighting form. And we saw that in his fight with Gunnar Nelson. And kind of the same thing with Vicente Luque. It was a very disheartening loss that I saw against Joaquin Buckley, where I felt like he kind of just gave up on that fight. And after that one, I was just like, man, I really can't pick him. I don't know if he's taking things seriously, if he's just taking too much damage, if his heart's not in the game anymore. And then he had a really good performance against Themba Gorimbo. So we're back. I'm back on the hype train for both of these guys. Unfortunately, they're facing each other, which I hate because one of them has to lose. But let's get into it. Vicente Luque, 23-10-1. He's 33 years old, 5'11", with a 76-inch reach, taking on Kevin Holland, who 27-13. So both these guys, tons of experience. I still think their records are good considering the competition that they've been facing. They've been facing the who's who's of their divisions their entire UFC career. So, but he's 32, 6'3", with an 81-inch reach. So Kevin Holland will be 1 year younger. He will be 4 inches taller and have a 5-inch reach advantage, which I think is going to be substantial because I think this fight's going to primarily take place on the feet, which is going to be a really fun back and forth between these guys. But Vicente Luque, like I mentioned earlier, very well-rounded, both of these guys. Maybe not Kevin Holland's wrestling, but both these guys really good on the feet, knockout power, high-level strikers, kicks, punches, combinations, defense. And really good jiu-jitsu guys too. Vicente Luque, like I said, he's fought, very high-level competition. Joaquin Buckley, Rafael dos Anjos, Jeff Neal, Bilal Muhammad, Chiesa, Woodley, Randy Brown, Stephen Thompson, Mike Perry, Jalen Turner, Brian Barberena, like Leon Edwards back in the day. Just fought, the who's who. And he can finish you on the feet. He's got a really good Darce choke. He went on an absolute tear back in the day before he lost to Stephen Thompson, but then went on another tear, lost to Bilal, got finished by Jeff Neal, beat RDA, kind of gave up against Joaquin Buckley, but then got a really good first-round anaconda choke over Themba Gorimbo. So good to see that from him. Always dangerous. But Kevin Holland, same thing. He's going to be the bigger guy. He's seen a lot of success at 185 as well as 170. He's skinny, but he's still really big, so it's kind of hard for him to make 170. But then if he moves up to 185, he's too skinny, and he's not big enough to deal with the physicality and the wrestling that comes at 185. But still coming off of a really good performance against Gunnar Nelson, was able to kind of just beat him up on the feet and keep it on the feet. Where Kevin Holland, if he can keep it on the feet, he can go with the best of anybody at 170 pounds. But lost to Ranier de Ritter by rear naked choke. RDR was able to just take him down, eventually get the rear naked choke against him, just being the bigger guy. And before that, lost to Roman Dolidze, popped a rib out of place or broke a rib. We don't really know. But before that, had a good performance against Mikhail Olechechuk, who I think is an absolute savage. I think Olechechuk is an absolute dog. And just have that really good performance against Cedricus Dumas. But Before that, lost to Michael Page, where he kind of was just very discouraged, couldn't really get anything going against Michael Page, which I understand though, because Michael Page is very high level. Lost a split to Jack Della Maddalena, but had a lot of success against Jack Della Maddalena on the feet, who is now the champ. And I think JDM's got some of the best boxing, if not in the welterweight division, in the UFC. I think he's very good. Beat Michael Chiesa, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Lost to Stephen Thompson, where he just he refused to grapple. Obviously, that's your path to victory, is taking down Stephen Thompson and using your black belt, because Kevin Holland, he's undersized at middleweight, but you see him have a lot of success off of his back still at middleweight, but also at welterweight. He's a very high level black belt under Travis Lutter, who's just a world-renowned jiu-jitsu guy. Did very well against Ronaldo Souza off his back, ended up getting the KO, but it just seems like at 185 he's just getting out-muscled. He's getting big brothered by these guys who are cutting down from 215 pounds. But I think if he makes a commitment to 170, I think he can see a lot of success. So in this one, I got to go Kevin Holland. I think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet. I don't see Luque really shooting takedowns in this one, and if he does, he doesn't have that wrestling pedigree or that size advantage to get Holland to the ground, in my opinion. And if he does get him to the ground, again, he doesn't have the size of the wrestling pedigree to just kind of hold him there. Kevin Holland will be able to use his very good guard game, his length, and just his power from his back, with his up kicks, his elbows, really good sweeps everywhere to threaten or do damage to you, or to scramble, sweep, get back up to his feet, where I think he's going to have the advantage. They're both very good strikers, and they have really good power, but like I said, Kevin Holland, I think he can beat anybody in the world at 170 pounds on the feet. Really good kicks, really good head movement, doesn't get hit a lot, doesn't really get hurt. I don't think he's really, has he been KO'd? It's usually a choke or a decision, a Darce choke. He's never been finished, never been choked, or never been knocked out. Never really even seen him get hurt, honestly. He got hurt against, what's his name, the younger brother, Kyle Dawkins. I think it was a headbutt, but other than that, solid chin, tough dude. He's going to have the reach advantage against Vicente Luque, who has been hurt and knocked out. Got knocked out by Jeff Neal, and was ground and pound knocked out / quit against Joaquin Buckley. So I just think Kevin Holland, he's going to be able to keep his space on the feet, utilize his really good striking and his 5-inch reach advantage to just kind of beat Vicente Luque on the feet. I don't know if he finishes him. I think that he could finish Vicente Luque on the feet, but more than likely, I see this one going to a decision. I just think Kevin Holland will be he'll be the faster guy, more powerful, and he's crafty too. That's the thing about Vicente Luque. He's a crafty guy on the feet as well. But I just think Kevin Holland's just going to be a step ahead of him. He's been very active as well. Just fought Gunnar Nelson about 2.5 months ago. Before that, in January, fought Renier de Ritter, fought Roman Dolidze in October, Lechechek in June, and Vicente Luque, he just fought in December, but before that, it was Joaquin Buckley in March of 2024. So Kevin Holland's just going to have the size advantage. He's going to be a little bit younger, going to have a little bit more momentum going into this one with having more fights under his belt. Both of them coming off of wins. But I think Kevin Holland gets this one done. I think he's going to, I think they're both very even on the striking, but I'm going to give the edge to Kevin Holland, like I said, in terms of speed, power, and can't ignore that height differential and that reach. Can have a 5-inch reach against Vicente Luque. So I'm going to go with Kevin Holland. I think he can get the KO in this one, but more than likely wins by decision. Thanks.